Good evening, everybody. So it's happy that you have joined us for this session with regard to IAS or Civil Services Prelims exam and its approach uh, for the people who are appearing in this exam. Right. So this workshop, the test positive, actually it was planned to provide for those who especially attend this particular year 2022 and those who have been a fresher, say for example, you are going to plan for 2023 or 2024, you can use this session as a prelude for your preparation and you can eliminate the basic hurdles which you can have in the initial start and you can also use it for as a stepping stone for your preparation in future. Okay? And those who have already provided an attempt or a couple of people who are there as a first attempt candidates in this particular year, you will have this particular session, which is really a helpful session. And how to use this exactly 3 months of time or 20 days exactly in which you are going to appear in this particular exam. Okay? So we will have a discussion session. There is a question answer session at the end of the workshop. And at that time, you can always have your questions posted or either in the chat box or you can just unmute and ask us about any type of questions what you have with respect to the preparation part. Okay. So now we'll begin with the session and in between, in case of any issues of any voice or any other issues, you can just ping in the chat box also. Okay. Fine. So yeah, so in this preliminary, see basically there are many such what we call the issues. What a candidate generally face is actually the core of the program. It is not that what you need to do. Okay? So the program has been organized in such a way that what you actually face as a problem and how we can provide a pragmatic solution to it. Okay? So in our experience of 14 years of coaching in civil services, we have come across a variety of candidates with different unique problems of that particular candidate, as well as a common issues what a candidate will face in this particular exam. Okay? So we have just collated it into a group it into a single part. Actually, the session can be of 4 or 5 hours of time in case we are going to go in details of each and everything what actually pressure will face. But to be put in precise, common parlance, how a particular candidate will face in the initial set of appearing in the exams. So that is a basic concentration of this session. Okay? So here we go. As you would have seen in the invitation itself, so this positive, the word which we have coined that represents 6 different basic tenets in the preliminary exam or any examination, whether it is prelims or mains or any other competitive exam, you face this particular issues. So the first thing is about preparation. We have certain challenges in preparation. We have certain dilemmas in preparation, and these dilemmas are one of the most important things which we need to address, because even challenges a candidate can put themselves in front of it. But as far as dilemma is concerned, the market sources or the peer group, they may have different solutions which will end up candidate having a confusion or dilemma in choosing which of this right choice for their particular candidate. So that we will address. So what are the challenges we see? I have classified them into four basic issues. Okay. So in order not to just cram you with all these issues, just I want to make it as an eye opener so that you will get it easy for understanding the core issues. So We'll see four different challenges or dilemmas what we have. And same way we were obsessed. So even as a candidate when I was in 2004-5, I had a certain obsession with certain issues, which may be personal and it can be of procedural, that is how I'm going to attend that particular exam, or propositional, like comparing with other fellow, the so-called veterans who had been. I would have been a first timer, and there would have been a person who will be competing with me, who will be around 4 or 5 years experience in attending this particular exam. So these propositional, procedural, personal obsessions will be there for a candidate. It's natural that we have it as a human being, but how to overcome that? So that's a core issue what we are going to address here. Okay. And the next important thing is the simulation. Simulation here I represent tests or practices. Okay. So what we are going to practice and how we are going to practice and with what we are going to practice. Okay, so those are certain things which we are going to actually deal here. Okay, so in this particular aspect, and then comes your the time. So time management, as you know, is a general time management, both for preparation as well as the film exam as such. Okay, and the way of approach is a critical thing what we are going to address. So how we need to use this. 3 months or 90 days, exactly to be precise, 92 days of this preparatory time. Okay? And eliminating errors. So commonly we have around 13 common errors. Okay, so there are around 14, 15 errors, but a couple of them are irrelevant as of now because of certain changes what we have in the exam pattern. So around 13 common errors we do commit. But anyway, it's glad that nowadays it was more before 2011 we can find these type of mistakes happening. Whereas now the mistakes are really lower. But anyway, we need to be very clear about these errors, and when we identify that we have some errors in that type, we can immediately rectify it. Thereby, we can do away with the negative marking, which actually affects us badly. Okay, so these are the 6 different areas what we are going to address now, and apart from that, we are also understanding in wholesome how the psychology is going to be seen, the sociological perspective of this exam also, okay, to take care of. Because personally, I believe this exam is more about testing your psychology than your knowledge. It's more testing your psychology than your techniques. It's more testing your psychology than your aptitude. Okay, so it's more about psychological and attitudinal tests. Okay, so I believe strongly that this particular exam is really bringing an officer from within you, and it tries to identify an officer by yourself within you. So that is really the core value of this exam, whether it is going to be starting from the preliminary or ending with the personality test. So wherever it is going to test you whether we can become an officer at the right attitude, right? So that's a basic core value of this exam. So in that way, when we go in this preparatory mode, in this workshop, we will just understand all these 6 things. Okay, so I will make it as quick as possible because the number of slides are also very less. So don't worry about it. So I'm not going to cram you up with various informations. It's just life in and out, right? Right. So the first important thing is in preparation, the 4 basic things what a candidate actually calls upon. Okay, so as a mentor, I have been familiar with these 4 issues. One is the vastness of the syllabus, especially general studies, and there are many remote areas in this particular syllabus. That is the area which I don't know, right? Because there may be a commerce student who doesn't know about science. There may be some other engineering candidate who have not done with anything like constitution. So some remote areas or something which I actually hated in my life, not to read the subject, but now that subject is thin. So that particular problem is one common thing what everybody has. The second thing is revision. Okay, how to revise. Say I have studied, so I have studied whether it is full or not. I have made my studies, but how to revise in this last minute? For 1 year or 1.5 years, I have been studying. But what to do in this 90 days? Okay, that is one important thing what we are going to address. And the third thing is, even if I revise, I couldn't remember. Okay, so that is one of the critical thing what it is, because it demotivates a candidate. When I study more, okay, so I study more, but I couldn't remember it, what I can do. So that is one important issues what we have. And the next important thing is retrieval. This is very, very critical because I would have demolished vastness, I would have revised better, I would have been remembering in a better way. But retrieval, if it is a problem, then that particular candidate will face the exam with all difficulties, because the problem here is that the connect between the knowledge what we have or the intellectual skills what we have and the exam. So there is a gap. Okay. So this is where everybody knows that the candidate has been well prepared, but the candidate couldn't get successful. So that gap is very, very critical. That is actually the gap which actually determines whether we are successful or not. Right? So that is the thing, because whatever it is at the for UPSC on the day of exam, what you do, that is really matter. Okay. So whether I know the thing or not, it doesn't worry about. There will be a question, there will be a choice A, B, C, D, and if you are going to click it is B and it is right choice, then nobody will question you how you did it. Okay. So that is one of the critical things what we need to have. So in that case, what happens? The first thing, the vastness. See, generally, be aware and understand that you are not given with a limited syllabus. Okay, we don't have basically a syllabus. It is all a framework. Okay, so these are certain areas which you have to look upon. Okay, that is where the framework is given. In that framework, we may know something, or we would have been familiar with something, and there are certain areas which may not be familiar in that particular framework, right? So first, understand what you know, what you don't know. Okay, we need to know that difference. These are certain areas. Say, if I have 6 subjects, in that 6 subjects, 4 I know, 2 I don't know. Okay, agree there. If I don't know, yes, you accept that I don't know. So I am having some problem in history. I am having some problem in science. I have some problem in geography. You just accept it. Okay. The second thing is that there are whatever maybe the book, syllabi, framework, whatever words you use. At the end of the day, that subject has 2 important areas. One is the subject area. The second one is question area. Whomsoever it may be. Okay, even if he is going to be the founder of that particular subject, if they are going to ask a question, they can ask only the question area. Okay. So when you are reading a subject, you will be reading the entire subject. But when you read the subject as such, there will be certain areas where we will read for understanding something. Okay, there will be some concept, or there will be some core issue. For understanding the core issue, you will be reading that particular background area. Okay, that background or certain things which supports your understanding, that we call the subject area. Okay, question area is the area where you will have exactly the question located. Okay, say for example, you may be reading much about constitution. The constitution came in this way, that way, we made in this manner, it took around 2 years and 11 months and so on. So you will read many things. In not all areas I'm going to have question area. Okay, so certain things you will be understanding, about constitution. Certain areas I will have certain questions which I want to ask you. Fine. In that question area, I can't just like that ask a question. Okay. So just because I know, I cannot ask. This is the basic rule of a competitive exam. Okay. So basically, understand that the competitive exam is requiring you to attend the questions. It is not making you to not attend all the questions and just simply keep you away. In that sense, I cannot recruit at all. Right? Only when the candidate attends the question, I can recruit the best brain out of it. Understood? So how the question area is being selected or how the questions are being selected. The question area is the one how examiner thinks is that, see, everybody should know that area. But I will have some twists and turns. You need to understand that logic, solve that question. Okay, this is the basic idea. Okay, so what probably the mistake we do here is we try to cram up for some unknown facts, the facts which are not known to anyone in the competitive world, right? So my friend shouldn't be aware of that particular area. That should be the question area. So that will not be in that case, especially for UPSC. The question will be marketed, it will be known to everybody. But it will be framed in such a way that there will be some twist or a trick which would be made by the examiner where it actually tests your understanding. Understood? So that is the basis of a question area. So try to address, in case if a known area, no problem. You will read the entire subject. You will also know the questions, where the question will come. This is the area where the question will come. Okay, fine. When you don't know a particular subject, say I am a commerce student. I have just washed my hands on science with 10th standard. Okay. Now you are asking me to study about cell. You are asking me whether a cell wall is there or not. You are asking me about virus. You are asking me about some retroviral technologies. I am fed up with that. What I can do? You may not go with the subject area as such. You may not learn what a cell is, what a cell wall means, but you can choose certain question areas. How to identify that? That is where the previous year question comes. Okay. So previous year question banks will readily help you to identify these areas. Say in science, what type of questions they ask. So you can just take those questions, find some similar areas, you can identify them and read them. So try to practice for those unknown areas, identify those question areas from the part which we have from the previous year question. Okay, so understand that which subject we actually have. It's kind of SWOT analysis. Okay, what we know, what we don't know, or what we are weak in, what we have a threat. So go for the question areas, identify them. Okay, so this is one. With that, your vastness will come down, your remote areas problem will come down. So that fear factor, say, if science question is more, what I will do? 20% science question will come, what I will do? No problem. Instead of leaving the 20, we can at least attend 5 to 10 questions, okay, which will end up adding our 5, right? Fine. Revision. So revision is again one typical thing what we actually miss out of time. Right? In time management also it comes in revision. Within 90 days, I need to revise 6 subjects. So what they do, 10 days a subject. Okay, this is a common thing what they do. But actually, revision is something like you need to remember, you need to do it as fast as possible. Do not redo the entire job. If you are reading a book twice or thrice and you have done with that subject, don't take it again. Say if you are reading an NCERT textbook of standard 12, you have from the first page to the last page, you have read it. You have marked certain things and you have completed reading and studying and learning. Okay, all 3 processes are being done. How to revise? Again, what way they will do? They will start from the beginning. They will understand. They will mark certain areas. They will start learning that. Otherwise, some people may try to make notes. Okay. So they will just mark it and mark the thing. They will just cut copy it in a separate piece of paper. Don't do all these things. It may kill your time now. Okay. What you try to do, there are 4 different methods which you have an effective revision method. So all these 4 I have done, and that is the reason why I suggest it is not just a cut copy paste kind of. One is indexing method. Say some books like NCRTs or certain books may have index at the last. What is actually an index? Index are certain keywords, certain key concepts, certain key events which defines that particular subject, right? Or it is a part of that particular subject. That is a question area. Basically, that is a question area. Clear? So I will check whether you know this or not. So that's a simple technique of identifying a question area. So what I do, try to get that particular index, revise that particular names, recollect what you know. Say for example, I just turn back the NCRT of ancient India. I find a word Artha Shastra. Okay, so immediately I need to recollect. So what is Artha Shastra? Whether it is a book or name or whatever, what kind it is. If it is a book, who is the author? At what time it was written? What it is written about? Okay, so these are certain things which I can recollect. If there is a problem in recollecting, just go to that particular page, refresh it, come back to the index page. Okay, so this is a method which is easy, which is less time consuming, and the greatest advantage is that since it is given in alphabetical order, sometimes there may be certain same sounding words which will appear. Okay, say for example, there is a word called Panchayatna. It has been asked in Mughals once. Okay, it is a ancient India NCRT. We have a word called Panchayatna, which is 5 strings. We have Panchatantra. Okay, we have Panchadevata. So all will be appearing in one line because it is in alphabetical order. So you can group them. You can have a match. This is the area where we have this problem of retrieval. Because in retrieval, what happens is that I read all these areas in the book in different pages or different chapters. What they will do, they will collate it and give in a match. All of a sudden, when I see this grouping in the question, I feel something odd. I feel that I didn't read this. Okay. So there may be some, say, there is a word called Nitisara. Okay. Then there is a word, it may be similar to Niti. That is, what do you call it? Nitisara is a book on law, right? So same way, there may be certain words which are similar to it, but it will be different. Okay. So where I can find in the index, I can do it. So they will collect that particular word, I can have it. Clear? Sometimes they themselves will be giving that particular link. Say for example, when you refer some taxes, also refer, they will have some word. So that is a link. You can get it. So when you revise, you can also solve that particular problem of the test book and test relativity gap can be minimized. This is one method. Second method is random method. Random method is, it will be helpful in your constitution kind of. In constitution, what you can do, randomly you choose a number. Okay. So randomly as a roulette, you just randomly choose. Say 351. So what that 351 article mean? You just recollect it. If you find it difficult, just refer that 351. So it will remember again and again. So this is a random method. Discussion method, like-minded aspirants, they can sit together, they can have some discussion, questioning kind of, or just a question answer kind of, or general discussion kind of. You can do it. Another thing is current affairs kind. Say when you read a newspaper or a notes, current affairs notes, when you come across a word, when you come across certain things like, say for example, CASPR. Okay. what that it means. So it's a molecular scissor. So we have read it in biotechnology. So you can just relate it to it. Okay. So likewise from current affairs also we can do it. So there are many kinds of revision. Okay. In case if you have a current affairs notes grouped into various subjects, you can go for that. Say for example, right to privacy was in current affairs. You will see it in the notes. So what article it relates to? So whether article 19 or whether it is article 21. So what judgment it was, which case law it was. So you can refresh and revise in that particular way. Okay. These four methods will be helpful. The third one is what we have is that remember. So how to remember? This is a problem. So I read. Okay. நார்மலா சொல்லுவோம் படிக்க படிக்க மறக்குது மறக்க மறக்க படிக்கும் வேற வழி இல்லை. Okay. But the thing is how to remember. Remember is something. Say how we remember. Basically, human brain remembers by comparison, by relativity. Okay. So either by pictographic. Okay. So it can be a pictographic or a tabulation method. So say in childhood how we learn. When we were taught, we will be seeing a picture of a dog, and the parent will teach it is a dog, right? And again, when this particular dog is moving around the street, the parent will again show it in live, and it will be taught as dog. Same method. It's a tabulation method, a pie chart method, a map method, hang the map over the wall. So have it in that way. So tabulation methods can work. Some shortcut methods would have worked. So you can have many shortcuts when you would have been taught with. So say for example, president and governor approximately add around 90 number, you will get that particular article. Okay, approximately. So likewise, some shortcuts will be there. So try to have that shortcut. Okay. So 123 ascent of what do you call president? Okay, in polity. 1, 2, 3. So that's a method in which we remember. Okay, everybody do that something. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 4, 3. So likewise, anything. So 2 reverse. 2 state in between a river is a problem. Tamil எப்படி சொல்றோம் 2 state நடுவுல 6. That's 262 goes with a problem with what do you call the states, that is river district between the states. Okay, so somewhere you try to have or you try to use some shortcuts, right? Some shortcuts. Fine. So this particular method, say sometime it may be relative method. Relative method, say for example, you know the death year of Nehru, 1964. Something you want to relate it. So Nehru died. So these are the things which happened. Okay, you relate it with that. Clear? So it may be your birth year. So 1990. So it may be 1999, 2000. So it may be 1980s. So you can just link it with some years, some members, some names will be similar. Okay, so try to make some link. Say it may be absurd also, right? But it is for you. You need to remember, that's all. So any absurd method you do it, but it's a relative kind of. That's all. So it should have some relation. Something is hoop method. Hoop method is especially it will work in constitution kind of. Say 1 to 10. Okay, I need to remember 1 to 10 articles. What I can do is when I just read it, I remember article 5 easily. Okay. Similarly, I remember article 50. I remember article 44. I remember article 100. I remember article 120. So what I do, I try to remember 120 before 120, after 120. That is hoop method. I will hoop 120 before and after I will read. So that I can do it. So that we can add on more. So it is a by practice it will come. It is a method by which you can remember things. In case if you are having problem with issue of remembrance, right? Retrieval, again, this is the most important thing. Retrieval comes only through practice. Some student, I found that they won't attend the test at all. Okay, but they will be good at reading. But when they attempt a test, then only they will understand that, sir, you say it is only NCERT test and you have taken only from NCERT. But I don't remember that I have studied these things in NCERT itself. Right? Why? Because the problem what we saw in revision, that collating of things, which becomes something new. See, the issue is that you will not have the same, what do you call, the type of sentence, the type of question which you have in this examination. There will be some twist and turns, there will be some reframing of sentences. Okay, so only when you practice, you put your brain at work, you put your intelligence at work, then only we can understand how things happen. Okay, so practice more. More you practice, more you read here, less you sweat in the exam. Okay, so that's a basic thing what we can do. Clear? Fine. So this is a basic understanding what we have. So this is preparation. So the next kind of thing is that obsession. This is one thing which is very, very crucial. See, two things I have seen in a newcomer or a person who is repetitive in his attempts or a first timer, whatever it may be. Collecting of sources and finding some new sources. Keeping on adding books, keeping on stocking materials, just buying materials, storing PDFs. It won't help you. Because at the end of the day, the first slide comes in. You need to remember, you need to retrieve. Okay, try to understand the exam. Try to right size your preparation. Okay, more the resources, it is risky to handle. You cannot handle it better. Okay, if you read a book, read it perfectly. That with that knowledge, try to solve the problems. Because we'll see in simulation, it is not the knowledge which is going to work in the front phase. The frontline worker is technique. The back end worker is knowledge. Okay, we try to put the other way out. What we think, more the knowledge we have, the more questions we can solve. It's not like that. Okay, optimum knowledge is enough to solve that particular question, right? Because MCQ is technique based. The MCQ is technique based. So understand that. Don't try to go behind sources. Don't try to find new. Say when you find a new question, they'll start searching the source from which source this question was taken. So what? Tomorrow they may not take from that particular source. What will you do? Will you go for another source? No. So in that case, what happens? We try to find a right source in the beginning. Try to find a right source. Try to have a right sizing of the source. Try to hold that source. Okay, whether it is good or bad, try to hold that. Okay, try to learn that. Using that, try to have incremental knowledge. Say, for example, you would have chosen a simple book, which will not be enough. Say NCERT. It is not enough basically. But when you strengthen your NCERT, you can incrementalize the knowledge from other sources easily. But what happens is that neither they go and read the NCERT perfectly, nor they will increment it with the right source. Okay, so it will be dilly-dally between these two. That is a problem what we have. Okay, they don't have more confidence in NCERT also because they feel that it is not enough, and they go for another source which is also incomplete for them because they keep on getting the sources. Okay, that is a problem. Okay, so the exam is more performance centered. That is what I told. Retrieval centered. How much you retrieve, that does matter. I may know 1,000 facts. If I retrieve only one fact, what is the use of having 1,000 facts back in the mind? If I have only 100 facts, if I could retrieve 60 facts, that's enough. That is the most efficient work we can do. Yeah? So that is one thing which you need to remember. The second thing is that refer always previous question. That is your trend setter. Don't go by the market. So I again tell you, don't go by the market. It is risky. Markets is always with risk. Okay. Just my friend group, peer groups told, my institution told, my mentor told. Don't go by that completely. Okay. Go by previous year question paper. Previous year question paper gives you a limelight. It will give you a beacon light. Say, for example, last year, you had certain questions, what they say as all of a sudden they asked sports question. Okay. So sports question where they asked, because that was a record year, you had more participants in Olympics, you had more awards, they started asking, right? But they asked not only that, but also from other sports, which ended up in certain controversies. Okay. So this is a trend. So they are telling you that current affairs need not stop there, it can also have here. So try to analyze the background of that particular question, why the question was asked, try to prepare in that way. Don't go by the market. Typical example I will say, 2550th anniversary was celebrated when I was attending my, I think, second attempt. 2550th anniversary of Buddhism was celebrated. Okay. Everybody was, because the government is doing it in a great way. We had ASEAN coming in, circuits and so on. Everything, it's a happening here. Okay, with Buddhism. Everybody went on reading from Buddha Nakshatra to Visa Nakshatra Buddha, and till what you call the symbols, everything thorough. Simply they asked Jainism. Okay. The question came, 4 questions were there, 1 from Buddhism, 3 from Jainism. Right? But what the market was filled with Buddhism. All materials were filled with Buddhism. The question paper was filled with Jainism. Okay, don't go by the trend. Have previous year question bank. That is the trend setter. If you want to really find trend, go with the previous year question bank. Okay. Then syllabus completion. That is another problem what I face when they ask me. 2 things is correlated. See, why you didn't attend the test? I didn't study or I didn't complete the syllabus. Okay, so I didn't attend the test. What is the background problem here? It is a fear of failure. Okay, what I feel is that since I didn't complete the syllabus, I don't know fully. When I don't know fully, how I can attend the test? When I attend the test without complete knowledge, I may end up in failure, which may be demotivated for me. That is a question what I actually face. Remember what I have told before, it is not a syllabus, it is a framework. Remember the question area, remember the subject area. You cannot complete the entire syllabus of UPSC because the syllabus itself will say social issues such as and etc. Okay, how you will, it is such as and etc. That is the syllabus. Okay. So there may be only 4 terms which will be mentioned there. Social issues such as child labor, women issues, poverty, and etc. Whether you will stop only with that 3. If you list down the social issues in India, it will be going on. When you will stop, right? So completion of a syllabus is something like it is putting something in the ocean and searching for. Okay. Precisely, always have in front the examination paper. Go by exam oriented or exam centered approach. Okay. Exam centered is practice, practice, practice. Whether you know the subject or not, practice. That is the key aim. Okay, that is the key thing what you need to have. Really, that will help you. More practice will help you because simulation will also be a learning tool that we will see. Even while testing yourself in through test papers, you will learn through options. We will see that. Okay, so don't fear attending or practicing questions. Solve as many questions as possible. Okay. So that is the key area because it will solve many problems. Okay, it will solve many problems. Don't fear about failure. Do it. Right? Same way, understand it. It is a technique-based exam. So I say again and again, it is a technique-based exam. Okay. So with techniques, you can do it. Okay. So don't risk that completion of the syllabus is the only way. If you want to really complete the syllabus, genuinely I say, after 10 years of my preparation or 7 attempts of my preparation, I would have not completed this syllabus because there are something which has been added, right, through current affairs. How I can stop reading or say that I have completed science and technology? Daily when technology comes in. Understood? So you cannot do it. It's a continuous process. You need to learn. Learning is a continuous process. So don't mix that syllabus completion with your test. Even if you don't know the halfway through, try to use it. Say always try to practice what you know with that solve the problem. That's a simple thing. Okay. You may know only limited things. With that limited resource, try to solve the problem. This is a life learning method. Even in the life we know we have only less resources. We have to solve the problem with the limited resources. Right? Even when you are an officer at the district level, you are having certain limitations. Within that limitations, you need to solve the problem. You can say, I have to become a prime minister to solve this problem. Even as a prime minister, you have certain limitations. Right? So don't go with that aspect. Syllabus completion is different. Attending the test is different. If you are locking yourself in this arena, it is putting ourselves into problems. Okay? So this is the second thing, obsession. The third thing comes in simulation. Simulation is the one where we understand 4 different things. The test dilemma. Okay, this is one important thing. What type of test I have to take? Say I don't believe in one fit for all. Okay, if you are a fresher, say for example, I am just I have prepared for a year. Now I am attending for 2022. What I have to do? If you are attending in that way, go for a test which gives you 50% subject test, 40% full test in the sense all subjects put together, all syllabus put together, and 20% current affairs test. That means in case if you are writing 10 tests, 5 tests will be subject based test, 4 tests will be a full test, and 4 tests will be a current affairs test. In this ratio, it should be. Why a first attempt candidate should have 50% and why a repetitive candidate can have option of just attending for 15% of a subject test. Why? Because repetitive 2 or 3 attempts a candidate will be basically understanding the fundamentals or will be stronger in certain areas of fundamentals in every subject. Okay, they will know precisely with the terms and conditions that they are sincerely prepared in those subjects and they understand that they have the SWOT analysis. This subject is stronger, this subject is weaker, this subject is an opportunity for me, and this is a threat for me. That basic understanding is there for a candidate who is repetitive. Then they need to address more full text because, again, I repeat, it is a technique-based approach. So, in that way, what we try to do, we need to solve as much as full text as a whole. Thereby, I can increase my success rate. How to make it? Because I know which subject to handle better, which subject I can have a worse performance. Accordingly, I need to solve it. So, candidate with the 4 or 5 attempts or more than 2 attempts, just attending subject test alone, it won't work. Okay. Full test alone also won't work because they should also have some current affairs test. I have put 25% current affairs test. Why? Because they need to be updated. That's very important. A fresher will be more updated than a repetitive candidate. Right? So a repetitive candidate should be more aware that they should actually revise through current affairs. That's a importance what the repetitive candidate has. They should go with the current affairs. Clear? So that will give them a better chance of refreshing themselves with current issues and already they know subject, they can link it better, address and present them better in the full test. Okay. If you are a first attempt candidate, go by 50, 40, 20. If you are a repetitive candidate, go by 15, 60, 25. Okay. Attend more about subject test. A repetitive candidate, go by more about full test. Okay. You can understand the wholesome issue. You try to solve the wholesome issue. Okay. And when you attend the question, some candidates have two option problem. That is, sir, I read the problem. I read the question. I eliminated C and D, but there is two option A and B. I don't know. I feel that A is also right, B is also right. And after a long struggle, I chose B, but answer was A. This is a typical problem. Almost 50 to 60% of the candidate have. Why this problem is happening? Say, I don't know the question, I don't know the option, then the problem is I didn't study. I know the question, I removed a couple of options because I clearly know that it doesn't come, but I ended up in A and B, but this is a problem. Why? Because this is lack of understanding in the fundamentals or concepts, clarity. Okay, lack of clarity in the fundamentals and basics, where I should understand it properly, revisit that particular area, understand it properly, and I have to strengthen it through NCRTs or other fundamental books which I have, and I have to strengthen the concepts. That's a basic thing what I do. Okay, so you need to strengthen the concept. Without clarity in the concept, that particular problem will happen. Okay. Then what about the unknown areas? Unknown areas go by technique. Technique in the sense we say how to approach the problem. Say go by the keyword of the question or go by the methodology in which you eliminate. Try to use your residual knowledge. Try to eliminate one sentence, two sentence. Okay. Say a question is there and you have two or three sentences. 1, 2, 3. And one thing is that you see that the question number 2 is obviously wrong with your residual knowledge. 1 and 3 you don't know, but you go to the option. You see when you remove 2, there is only one option coming, 1 and 3. In all other area you have 2, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. When you remove 2, answer is 1 and 3. So unknown areas you can attend in this manner. Okay, so this is a method. These are techniques which we teach. When we solve more problems, you can be taught with many techniques how we do it. Okay. Whereas when you attend, the fourth thing is whether I have to attend all 100. But if I am going to attend all 100, I have negative marks. Many a time, candidate who is working of qualifying end up disqualified because they mishandled this particular negative marking. Okay. Unnecessarily, they attend all 100 questions. When I attend all 100 questions, what happens? You will end up with problem. Okay, you end up with problem. Why? There may be many wrong. When there is more wrong, you have more negative marking. Okay. When you have more negative marking, you end up with more problem. Clear? So this is a problem what we have in this regard. Clear? So this is the issue what we have as part of your attempting all questions versus negative. Okay, if I'm going to attempt all, what is going to happen? Naturally, it is a disaster. So understand that in this exam, even UPSC doesn't want you to have 100 questions attempted and all 100 questions should be right. Go and refer the entire history of UPSC. You can see the entire cutoff. The cutoff is nearly 60% or maximum topper will have 60 to 65%. The topper himself will have 60 to 65%. Okay, so we need only 60 plus questions. Why you worry about that particular attending of all the questions? Okay. But the challenge here is which 60. That is where the training is given. That is where we are here mentoring you how you can identify the 60 plus. But the problem is at that time of exam, we try to panic ourselves and attend all 100 because we want to clear the exam. But actually speaking, if you would have not done that misadventure, you would have actually qualified in that exam because the negative marking would have eaten away the entire scores. And believe, any question paper given, any candidate will have 10 to 20% of the question unknown to them. It is a reality. It is a truth. Okay. 2022, you appear in the exam. You check 10 to 20 questions maximum. Nobody will know. That 20 question may differ. One question I know, you may not know. One question you may know, I may not know. But 10 to 15% of the question, there will be a darker area. Don't worry about that. The problem here is we end up moving in that darker area and we lose sight for remaining 80 questions. That is a problem. Okay. So this is basically the simulation areas. Next one is time management. Time management, when I do revision, when I do anything for a fresher, go by equal importance. That is 50-50. Okay, GS 50%, option 50%. Remember that even when you are reading current affairs, you are reading GS. Okay. When I am reading current affairs, I am also reading general studies because current affairs comprises of all those polity, economy, and so on. So don't differentiate current affairs and general studies. First timers give importance equally for general studies and current affairs, whereas repeaters give importance to current affairs because there may be a chance of getting lag. So 90 days you revise current affairs. From current affairs you go to GS revision. Okay, the technique which we saw before. From current affairs you go to GS. Okay. Prelims versus mains. Yes, main is a real examination. That is where you are going for. Preliminary is just a screening exam for mains. Keeping the culprit out. That is a basic thing what prelims is. But when you are preparing, if you are a fresher, when you prepare for mains first. Now, if you are going to attempt the 2022, now what I have to do? It is just 90 days. You need to concentrate on your prelims. Don't waste your times in your other areas. Go for prelims. Okay, go for your prelims. Concentrate on your prelims. What are all the weaknesses, stronger areas you have? Try to understand that. Go by that particular way. Don't waste time in mains part now. Okay, go by the prelims. Okay. Whereas on exam part, in exam part, what I have to do, how the time is wasted in examination hall as such. When you try to solve questions, you can find some questions like time wasters. Okay, say the area will be known. The question is known to you, the area is known to you. When you read the answer, you will write it, attempt it rightly. That is a tempting area. Usually, longer the question, answer will be easier. But the question will be 150 words, 200 words. Single question will be that way. When you read the entire question, you will attempt it right. You will definitely make it right. No doubt about it. But while solving that particular question, you would have solved another 4 questions there. Which is better? Solving this time waster last and going by the other thing first. That is easiest method. Okay. So try to make time wasters at the last. Okay. Sometimes subject-wise management also a double-edged weapon. Subject-wise means I will choose subjects. Say this year I am going to attend polity, economy, history first. I will start searching those questions and I attend. Sometimes what will happen? When the questions are easier and I know the answer, it is fine and I will do it. If it is Why I choose them? Because I know them better. If the question is difficult, I may demotivate. Okay. So when demotivation happens, there may be a problem. Okay. So that is a double-edged weapon. That is through practice you can get it. Always, it's up to you. Any method you can follow. Always go 1 to 100. That is always better. Okay, you won't miss any questions. You won't do anything in that way. Same way, if you are going to revisit the question, actually mark something in the question paper so that you can easily come back and search the question. Sometimes what happens, a common mistake is that they will just, okay, we'll see this. I know this question, but I need to spend some time. I will do it later. So they'll just turn the pages and go. After that, they will remember that one question is there, but in which page I don't know. They will start searching it and waste the time. So likewise, also time management may be missing. And same way for 120 minutes, I'm having 100 questions. So try to attend the first known questions that we call as sure shot. Then you go for elimination technique. Then you go for guess or something. If you start doing guess first itself, you start doing elimination first itself, then you may end up wasting time. Okay, first search, just turn pages. What are the questions you know better? Immediately you know the answer. Just mark them first, and then you come to the next. So these are some techniques which may reduce your time wasters. Okay, so far. So the next one is the elimination of errors. So these are some of the errors. One, I classified it as procedural errors. There are 7 out of them. 6 are some psychological errors. Procedural errors are easy to do and they can be rectified easily. Okay. Say reading only half of the question. Immediately, oh, this I know. Immediately I go and mark the answer. Actually, there may be a twist in the last part of the question. Okay. So reading only half of the question and answering may end up in wrong answers. Missing not. Which one of the following is not correct or incorrect? So they will just read which one of the following is correct. So that is one type of question. Fault. Third one is marking a wrong answer. Say in the question, when they read, they will say B. Okay, B is wrong. When they mark, they will actually mark D. Okay. So D for dog. So that may be a problem. So only when you come to home and check, okay, so we marked with D, right? So actually answer is B. Okay, likewise there may be a problem. Sometimes you will mark with the wrong question number. Say for example, what happens, we will leave some questions and write. Okay, say I am attending 13, 14 I don't know, 15 I don't know, 16 I don't know. I am marking 17. But what will happen, in answer sheet, I will mark it in the 14 itself. Okay, so now we are marking it. Say, when we are writing it is in pencil, we can erase it and write. Even if we do such thing for 10, if it is in pen, you cannot do it. Now you are doing it in pen. So you need to be careful in marking in the OMR sheet. Okay. Same way, matching errors. Say, for example, what happens? The question will be which one of the following is correctly matched. Okay. So there will be one question, or there will be one. What happens? Typically, a candidate will. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sentences will be there. What the candidate will do? Okay, this sentence is correct. This sentence is correct. This sentence wrong. This sentence wrong. What the question is? The question says which one of the following is correctly matched. So answer will be 1 and 2. Okay. This is not a problem. When the question is not correct, okay, when the question is not correct, what happens is I will read the question. This statement is correct statement. This statement is correct statement. This statement is wrong. This statement is wrong. Not correct means the answer should be 3 and 4. Rather, what I will do, immediately I will also mark 1 and 2. Okay, for this 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2 is there, 1 and 2. Okay, so we will immediately forget this. So there will be a confusion in this particular set. So while doing these type of questions, what you need to do is you need to do only one marking. If you are going to mark the choice, mark only one. So you do, okay, this is the answer, 1 dot. This is the answer, 1 dot. Okay, answer is 1 and 4. That's all. Okay, so likewise, these are some problems what we have in this aspect. Okay, then missing the keyword in the question. So what they ask for, they will just do it. Largest, they will just forget the term largest. They will mark 1, 2, 3. Actually, largest will be only 1. Okay, likewise, missing the keyword. Not following the direction in the question. Say in CSAT and all, second paper, there will be some directions given. You may not follow the direction, you will end up in wrong answer. Okay, these are some procedural errors which you identify, you can easily correct it, not a problem. Okay, but psychological influence is a dangerous one. Okay, you need to consciously change it. Say, for example, in the one option syndrome. The one option syndrome means there will be a personality where always they will think C answer is right or B answer will be right. Okay, for any unknown area, when they just mark, they'll think, okay, B is right. Fine. Another psychology is that whatever the question paper says, it may be right. Say, for example, I had that problem. The question paper said, in my first attempt in 2005, the question paper said, World Punjabi Conference held in so and so. Then another conference, World Sanskrit Song or something, which happened in this particular year. That was a question. I believed that. Okay, I believed that question, and I marked it as both 1 and 2. To be frank, there was nothing which was happening like that at that time. So, but the question was given in such a thing that it happened in that particular way. Okay, so that syndrome, or say anything which is given in the question paper is right, or anything in this particular option will be right. So that particular syndrome is something in the scale. Okay, and legacy. Legacy is always there will be correct statement. Last question will be incorrect statement. You will also read it as correct. That is a legacy of the previous question. Value addition. You add some values to the question. What is that? They would have asked in a particular context, but you will think, say, if this happens, what will happen? This happens, what will happen? If this criteria is added, what will happen? Nobody asked you to add that criteria. But what happens? We will do it. So that is this particular problem. Then not check marking this is the one which we did it. So unnecessarily we waste time by searching questions. Then value addition and thinking beyond, almost similar. Okay, when you value add, you think beyond, you value add, or you value add because you are thinking beyond. What are it? Just limit yourself to the question. Limit yourself to the choices. Limit yourself to the context. Okay. Then randomly answering the question. Say I just go by random answering. 1, then I just done 4, 5, 10. Okay. So likewise, randomly answering will also end up in errors. Okay. And same way, random choices. A, okay, for this B. So likewise, if you are going to have random answering, stick to one option. B means B. That's all. Okay. So, but now negative marking is there, so random answering will not happen, and it is risky to have random answering. Okay. Fine. So, what is the way approach? So, the conclusion here is when you prepare, do away with all the obsessions, do away with all your things. Go with read, remember, retrieve aspect. Try to revise it as such. Okay, what we have seen. So this will make us pretty good, and this will end up in a greater chance of sticking on or consolidating to our efforts. So these 3 months is consolidation. You need not adventure yourself. Try to consolidate, read, remember them, revise them, retrieve them by practice. Okay. Retrieve them at the right spot. Okay. And it is a performance-based exam. Try to perform. Without performance age, 14th கேள்விதான் அந்த ஸ்டேட்டா பதில் சொல்லுவோம். It won't work. You need to go 1, 2, 3 and 14. Right. So go step by step, practice papers. If you are demotivated, practice some simple questions. Slowly increase your criticalities. So toughness increase. Go in that particular way, but practice. Practice makes us perfect. Okay, perform, and then only we can succeed. Then upskill ourselves. Upskilling is increase accuracy. Okay, accuracy is very, very important. Accuracy in the sense, if I am attending 10 questions, how accurate I am. Okay. So if I am marking this question, how accurate I am. Okay. And how the accuracy is, whether it is consistent or not. This question paper, 80 questions right. Next question paper, 80 questions wrong. It is not going to work. So consistent performance should be there. Okay. And try to do multitasking. If we couldn't do manage resource, form a group. A minimum of 3, maximum of 5, not more than that. Okay. So like-minded, like-frequent, synergize. Try to don't betray each other. Try to act as a team. Work it. Okay. So you can manage time in that way. Concentrate on fundamentals. Again and again, I'm telling that because questions are fundamentals. Simple or when oil prices were there, what is Brent? Oil price was $140 at that time in the last UPA government. Question was very simple. What is Brent fuel? What is 1 barrel equal to? That was the worst ever experience we had. Okay. 1 barrel of oil. So crude oil is in use. 1 barrel of oil is equal to how many liters or gallons? That was the question. That was a slap on the face. Right? A simple basic question you'll ask. That's a common sense question what we can see. We see always barrel, Brent. But what is that? We didn't see. But we know everything. India export, import, everything. Even finance minister doesn't know. All facts you will know. But they just go with the fundamentals. Link the fundamentals to the current affairs. When you see something in current affairs and you remember that you have seen in some books, immediately you take note of it. Okay? Revise it in that way. And same way the range of questions. Always try to achieve a net of 60 questions. What is net? Doing away with the negatives, doing away with all wrongs, all things put together, ended. The net question should be 60. Try to achieve that. It is not must, but try to achieve that. Okay. So even if you cross 50 in certain way, say in what do you call that, in reservation and all, we can match it up. But try to achieve that. Try to go with that range of 60. Okay, that is always important. And accuracy, I have always mentioned it. Accuracy is important, and accuracy is should be consistent. Completion. Always complete the paper and form. Nowadays, it will not be a problem because 100 questions. When we had it was 150 questions, whereas now it is 100 questions. Okay, so in that way, no problem. Always try to complete the paper. Okay, you have sufficient time. Unless or otherwise, you misadventure yourself. The time is in your hands. Okay. Same way, don't read any question without reading. Try to read. Okay. So try to manage your time to read at least. Okay, even if you are not attempting. So these are some of the 8 approaches which is important, which is actually what do you call very neat in this particular way. Got it? Fine. So yes, now I'm ready to answer your questions. So any questions you have, you can. Please.